Let's talk about gunsmithing. Gunsmithing. Yes, that's what we're talking about today. I'm Mike Price for EastIdahoNews.com, and this is Mike's Makers.
I'm John Peterson. I live in Idaho Falls, and I'm a gunsmith. A gunsmith is a lot of things. A gunsmith is a machinist, a woodworker, kind of a clockmaker of sorts. You work with the same types of tools.
This is your mill,
Yep.
And so what are you working on here?
This is going to be a muzzle brake. So I've turned this blank on the lathe. It's threaded and bored through the center to the correct caliber size, a little bit bigger than the bullet that's going to go through it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut some ports, just some slots basically that ports, and what they do is they allow the gas to discharge out the side rather than just straight out the front.
Okay.
That's what causes recoil. The most recoil on a rifle is that the hot gases forcing themselves out of the front of the barrel and thus pushing the rifle back into your shoulder. Yeah, so this redirects that gas and makes it so that less gas pushes it out straight out and reduces the recoil. So yeah, so this is going to be a 5-port brake. It's going to go on a lighter weight Magnum hunting rifle that actually has some pretty good recoil. So this will make it so that it doesn't hurt the poor shooter. When I was in junior high, I made my first set of tools, screwdriver set. We had a forge at my school, a natural gas forge, and pretty good metalworking facility there at the junior high. It was an old high school back in Omaha, Nebraska, where I went to school at. And I kind of got bit by the bug then. Working metal has been the coolest thing ever, since then. In high school, I took every metalworking class that my high school had to offer. They had a pretty intense machine shop there, a row of Bridgeport lathes and mills and surface grinder and all kinds of really cool stuff. And I got to learn how to run all of those in high school. Ever since then, I just started hammering away at, teaching myself the proper way to do things and learning from a lot of other master gunsmiths. A gentleman here lived here locally up in St. Anthony who's passed away, unfortunately, here not too long ago. Learned quite a bit from him. Another gentleman that's also passed on out west of town. He showed me some things too, and you're always learning, always learning.
These are some of the guns that you've worked on or are working on.
Mm-hmm.
You brought out one that you built from scratch. Would you mind showing me that?
So this is a 22 Hornet, single shot, swinging block. And they call it a swinging block because when you open the action, the block swings, pivots on a pin here.
Okay.
Swings open. Load a cartridge in, close it, cock, fire. And then when you open this up, it has an extractor. It's not an ejector, but it just extracts the case. It pulls it out a little bit, and you just pull the spent case out, put it in your pocket, next one, and repeat. Every piece on here I made except for the scope, the mount, and the barrel.
Now you machined all of this? And
Yep, machined all this out. This is actually made of several pieces. This is cut, and then I welded it up here and then remachined everything. Just always loved guns and wanted to know what made them work, and just always been fascinating to me. And then the love of metal work too, that kind of goes hand in hand with it. This is my personal rifle. Yeah, this is built for long range competition, F-class or something like that. Even with factory ammunition, these guns will shoot very, very well.
what kind of range are you talking?
1,000 yards. I enjoy putting a precision rifle together that can really just lay one bullet on top of another at long ranges. Here we have a rusted, damaged barrel. Got into water damage from a flood or something. And so what we do is we remove all that rust and pitting with files and emery cloth, and we get them to, this is almost done. This one has a few little spots that it still needs some work on, but this one's just about there. We get them to the point where we polish them to about 240 or 320, depending on what type of sheen we're looking for. And then we completely degrease them several times, wash them really, really well, get all the oil and grease and stuff off of them. Then we use an acid, and this is a specially designed acid made for rust bluing. This acid is a a fairly mild acid, the pH about the same as orange juice, but it does a good job doing an even layer of rust on the steel. The process of rust bluing uses that oxidization to get the color that you need. So when we put the acid on it, it rusts to a red color. Then we boil it in a tank right over here, and that converts that red oxide to a black oxide. A molecular change takes place in the boiling process and converts it to a black oxide. So this is what it looks like on this barrel right here after it's been boiled, but before it's been carted off. And then you can do it by hand or with this power wheel here. That's what it looks like after it's carted.
Oh, look at that, yeah.
Now once it soaks in the oil, it gets much, much darker. Almost like a black velvet look to it. Yep. He's carted those off to get the residue, and now he's put new acid on there, and that will sit in the sweat box overnight and re-rust, and then we'll repeat the process again. Keep putting acid on it until it literally will not rust. And at that point, it becomes virtually rust-proof. And it's also very durable. After we cure it in the oil, when we're all done, it is an incredibly durable finish. You have to sand it or file it to get it off. Unfortunately, it's something you see today. A lot of people are not learning a lot of these kind of work with your hand skills or the old trades or whatever. And they're kind of dying off. Gunsmithing is a dying art. Learning a skill, hands-on, it's good discipline for your mind. It teaches you how to learn, and you have a good end result in the end too, when you can accomplish something and sit back and admire your work. Yeah, it's very good steel. I use carbide bits because you can cut faster and they last longer. So this is a solid carbide end mill. Once I got enough together to get a few machines together and up and running, I made a couple guns completely from scratch, and that was the best education for me for gunsmithing, because you learn everything. You learn about trigger geometry, you learn about springs, how to make springs. I made all the springs for it as well. You learn everything. You know how to make screws, how to make pins, how to everything. And that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. The learning part was a lot of fun. And I'm still learning. Anybody who says they're done learning just doesn't know, because there's always something else to learn. And there she be.
Well, there you go. Very cool. Thank you so much for letting me come by and take a look at what you do. How can people get a hold of you?
They can call me at 208-200-2411, or just swing by the shop here at 555 Utah Circle, right across from Walmart. And I'm here Monday through Friday, 9 to 11:45 and 2 to 5.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you so much.
You bet.